Amelia Earhart was a brave and trailblazing pilot who became the first woman to fly alone across the Atlantic Ocean. For almost 100 years, she has been remembered as a symbol of courage, curiosity, and mystery. In 1937, she attempted to fly around the world, but during that journey, she disappeared without a trace. Her vanishing became one of the biggest unsolved mysteries in history. Since then, many people, investigators, historians, and explorers, have tried to find out what really happened. Over the decades, they followed every clue, hoping to solve the mystery of her final flight. Now, after 88 years with no clear answers, a recent discovery in a remote lagoon in the Pacific Ocean might finally offer a solution. A man named Michael Ashmore was looking at Apple Maps in 2020 when he noticed something unusual in a shallow lagoon next to the Taraia Peninsula on Nikumaroro Island. He saw a strange, long object shaped like a cylinder and thought it might be important. He shared what he found with Dr. Richard Pettigrew, the head of the Archaeological Legacy Institute. Dr. Pettigrew immediately saw the importance of the object, which was soon called the Taraia Object. It appeared to look very similar to the body of a Lockheed Model 10 Electra, the same type of plane Amelia Earhart was flying when she and her navigator Fred Noonan disappeared on July 2, 1937. For many years, people believed that Earhart might have landed on Nikumaroro, a remote coral island about 400 miles southeast of Howland Island, where she was supposed to land. This idea is known as the castaway theory. However, until now, it remained just a theory without strong evidence. After seeing the object on the map, Dr. Pettigrew began working to raise money so experts could investigate further. He arranged to collect 26 satellite images of the area, taken between 2009 and 2021. These images showed that the object had been briefly uncovered during storms in 2015 and 2016. This discovery has given new hope that we may finally be close to understanding what happened to Amelia Earhart and Fred Noonan after all these years. When a tropical cyclone hit the area, it briefly disturbed the sand and sediment that had been covering the strange object in the lagoon. For a short time, the mysterious metal shape became clearly visible in the crystal-clear water. However, over the following years, natural forces like wind and waves caused the sands to shift again, slowly covering it back up. Interestingly, this same object appears in an old aerial photo taken by the New Zealand military in 1938, just 1 year after Amelia Earhart disappeared. This adds even more weight to the idea that the object could be her missing plane. Another clue came from footage taken in 2001 by the International Group for Historic Aircraft Recovery, or TIRE. They had visited Nikumaroro Island many times in search of answers, and during one of their flights over the island, a strange flash of sunlight was seen reflecting off something beneath the surface. Although they captured it on camera, they were never able to locate the exact object at the time. The water was too cloudy, and traditional tools like sonar and metal detectors couldn't find anything. The object had been there all along, hiding in plain sight, but just out of reach. People have been searching for a simple, undeniable sign of what happened to Amelia Earhart, something like a photo of her airplane sitting on the ocean floor. That has been the dream for countless researchers and explorers who have spent millions of dollars chasing answers. So when someone comes forward with what might be a picture of the plane, it feels like the discovery that everyone has been waiting for. Dr. Richard Pettigrew is no stranger to the mystery of Amelia Earhart. As a professional archaeologist, he has been involved in earlier research trips to Nikumaroro. He has studied the island's geography, local stories, and possible clues related to Earhart's disappearance. In 2017, he even joined TIRE on an expedition there. But now, with new evidence and stronger backing, the situation feels more hopeful than ever. His organization, the Archaeological Legacy Institute, has raised nearly $500,000 in private funding for a new expedition planned for August 2025. This time, they will return to Nikumaroro with precise GPS coordinates and high-resolution satellite images to guide them directly to the object. According to Dr. Pettigrew, this is the best opportunity anyone has ever had to prove that the Nikumaroro theory is more than just a guess. The object's size, shape, and location all suggest that it could be man-made, possibly even part of a plane. "I always try to be careful when reviewing evidence," Pettigrew said in a recent statement. But by closely examining the Taraia Object, we might finally get the solid proof we've been hoping for. The mission will be handled by a small but highly trained team of archaeologists who will use careful excavation techniques to study the object directly in its current location. If it turns out to be wreckage from an aircraft, and especially if it matches parts from a 1930s Lockheed Electra, the impact would be enormous. For now, Pettigrew is hopeful but cautious. "We have to go and see," he said. "Maybe we'll find nothing. But if we don't try, we'll never know." This new effort will also be supported by evidence collected over the last few decades. During past trips, search teams found items on Nikumaroro that might have belonged to Earhart or her navigator, Fred Noonan. These include a piece of a woman's shoe, parts of an old airplane made from aluminum, and even human bones. At first, the bones were believed to be male, but later studies suggested they might have been from a female. If the object now found in the lagoon really is part of Earhart's missing plane, it could finally tie all of these scattered clues together and bring real answers to one of the greatest mysteries of the 20th century. Amelia Earhart's final flight in 1937 captured the world's attention. She set out to fly around the globe in a state-of-the-art Lockheed 10E Electra, traveling from west to east across about 29,000 miles. It was a daring journey, and most of it went smoothly. She flew from Miami, passed through South America, crossed Africa, and continued through India and Southeast Asia before arriving in Lae, Papua New Guinea. The next part of her trip would be the most dangerous, crossing 2,600 miles of open ocean to reach the tiny Howland Island. A U.S. Coast Guard ship, the Itasca, was waiting near the island to help guide her safely in. But something went wrong. Earhart and Noonan never arrived, and their last known communication was full of confusion about their location. From that moment on, they vanished, leaving behind one of aviation's most enduring mysteries. But something went terribly wrong. Despite making desperate attempts to contact help by radio, Amelia Earhart and Fred Noonan never made it to Howland Island. Their final radio message came at about 8:43 a.m. on July 2, 1937. In that last transmission, Earhart said, "We are on the line 157-337. We are running north and south." After that, there was only silence. A massive search operation began right away. It became one of the largest and most expensive search efforts in U.S. history at that time. Still, no clear evidence was found. Over the following decades, people proposed many theories. Some were reasonable, and others were far-fetched. One of the most lasting ideas is that Earhart and Noonan went off course, ran out of fuel, and were forced to make an emergency landing on Nikumaroro Island. This island has a wide, flat coral reef that could have served as a makeshift landing strip. Many believe they may have survived there for some time before eventually dying alone and far from help. This theory gained more attention when bones were discovered on Nikumaroro in 1940. The remains were originally thought to be from a man, but later studies challenged that idea. In 2018, forensic anthropologist Richard Jantz reanalyzed the historical records and measurements. He concluded that the bones could have belonged to a woman of Earhart's height and body type. Unfortunately, the bones were lost during World War II, which only deepened the mystery. Still, the possibility that the remains belonged to Earhart kept the theory alive. Adding to the intrigue were reports of strange radio transmissions heard in the days immediately following her disappearance. Some people believed they were hearing calls for help from Earhart herself. Though never confirmed, these reports offered another clue suggesting she may have survived the crash, at least for a short time. Now, with the discovery of the Taraia Object in the shallow lagoon of Nikumaroro, researchers believe they may have finally found the missing piece of the puzzle. If the object turns out to be the remains of Earhart's Lockheed Electra, then the Nikumaroro hypothesis could shift from speculation to fact. Amelia Earhart once joked during a conversation that on a long flight, 180 pounds of gasoline might be more valuable than 180 pounds of husband. Her quick wit and bold spirit made her a legend. But behind the legend is a history of many broken leads and false promises. Over the years, several supposed discoveries have excited the public, only to end in disappointment. One of the most recent examples happened just last year when a company called Deep Sea Vision released sonar images that appeared to show a plane-shaped object on the seafloor, around 100 miles from Howland Island. The announcement made headlines around the world. But like many before it, the find has not led to any confirmed evidence or final answers. This long history of letdowns is a reminder to be cautious. The discovery of the Taraia Object has brought fresh hope, but until it is carefully examined and proven, the mystery of Amelia Earhart remains unsolved. Still, the upcoming expedition offers perhaps the most promising chance yet of bringing closure to a mystery that has fascinated the world for nearly a century. As you can imagine, the excitement was instant when the news first broke. Tony Romeo, a former U.S. Air Force intelligence officer who led a previous search effort, was confident that a sonar image showed the outline of Amelia Earhart's plane. The shape appeared to match her Lockheed Electra closely, and the possibility stirred hope all over again. However, after a detailed investigation, including an actual dive down to the location, the object was proven not to be an aircraft at all. It turned out to be nothing more than a natural rock formation that happened to look like a plane on sonar scans. This cycle of excitement followed by disappointment has become familiar in the long history of Earhart searches. It's one of the reasons why Dr. Richard Pettigrew and his team at the American Lost Initiative are approaching the Taraia Object with both hope and careful skepticism. They've seen how promising leads can turn out to be dead ends. But this time, things appear different. Unlike many past claims that were based mainly on speculation, the Taraia Object is supported by solid, verifiable data. It has been captured in multiple satellite images, shows a consistent shape over time, and even appears in historical photos from as far back as 1938. These overlapping layers of evidence give researchers a stronger foundation than ever before. Now, the world waits as experts prepare to return to Nikumaroro in August 2025. They hope to find proof that could finally solve the mystery of what happened to Amelia Earhart and Fred Noonan. Could this be the breakthrough everyone has been searching for? Only time and careful investigation will tell.